reclined, beautiful beings. I am anointing my high heart. So a little bit lower, I'm anointing my heart chakra so that we can get into the frequencies of dragons. And actually it's very interesting because what's coming in is this energy of the desert lands really supporting our dragon evolution right now. And you might have seen me you know, emphasizing what kind of oil that was, what kind of plant frequencies we got going on, and where it comes from. So this is from the Yucca Valley in the desert areas. It's actually the high desert of just outside of LA by 2 hours, or just, what is it? Is it east of Palm Springs? But you got to go over these mountains. These very sacred mountains, these very sacred lands, these very dragon-like mountains, and the spine and the whole thing. So we have CREOSOTE oil that is going to be reminding us that the deserts hold a lot of codes for dragons. What I would like to explore with you today in this beautiful dragon Draco starseed revelation, which we're going to do it in real time. You know, often when I do these readings, I like to pick the cards before and really have a feel for what frequencies we're going to be working with. But this is really a time where let's kind of leave the preparation, you know, let's just put it aside. Let's sidebar that preparation stage, because you're already prepared through your bloodlines. You're already prepared through your stellar bloodlines. So when I talk about Draco, I'm talking about a constellation. I'm talking about a star nation. I'm talking about actual living beings that carry a strong lineage that is very dragon-like. So we're gonna get into it. And I feel like opening with a beautiful crystal skull message, because I find that the ancient crystal beings, just like the desert, right, holding all of these cacti, maybe you can see this beautiful cacti that reminds me of dragons. Dragon skin with these like big spikes, and you know, it's got that deep, beautiful heart green color. And of course, we know this as, at least for us in LA, we know this as both sustenance and also just something really beautiful, something really kind of unexpected in desert lands. How much life it holds, how much life it feeds, how much water it retains, when maybe you could say like the rest of the desert might struggle. Cacti thrive, right? And they retain water and they absorb and they hold it for long periods of time. So what I'm getting is like, oh, I love this. Dracos, Draco star seeds, people with Draco lineage. You know, it's not the whole story, but it could be one thread in this beautiful tapestry of who you are. Their legacy is really connected to being survivors. And I don't mean this like, you know, the way people might think of like a survivor as like someone who's struggled and not. No. I'm like thinking of it in terms of power. They have the power to survive and to thrive in conditions and situations, in locations, in planets, and even on Earth, through you, through me, in ways that for other people might be deemed like impossible. Under impossible circumstances, under impossible, you know, timeline shifts of this Earth and of the stars, the galaxy, right? The cosmos, the whole universe, universes even. I hadn't looked at the card until now. And look, you got the dragon. Love, love, love. There are only 2 dragons in this entire deck. Crystal skull, dragon, called love, love, love. And so what I love is this reminder that we are aligned. We are aligned to dragon streams. We are aligned to dragon frequencies. We have a lot of cellular memory of what dragon beings were like when they were material, when they were here on Earth, before a lot of those cataclysmic events, before a lot of those, I would even say, like power struggle times. So they had more of a location, like a position where they were venerated, where they were consulted. Think of like a high elder or like someone really revered in a community, but I'm talking about like because they were wise, because they were knowledgeable, because they were pure. So they were, I could even see this kind of like dragon being that, you know, is connected to a Draco lineage where you might see them like look a little bit dragon, a little bit human. So they might be wearing like a beautiful robe and have like a long beard, kind of think like Confucius or like these kind of Asian, I was gonna say seers, maybe, seers, elders, and wise men, wise teachers and sages. So we have more access to that. And if you have felt, and it's interesting, I'm being called to this card real quick that's been on my altar. It's called Death Valley, which is in California, which holds, I mean, I can't even describe it. Like you're gonna have to do a little search into Death Valley. You're gonna have to do a little exploration with what the skin, right? With what the landscape looks like physically today and how that relates to your dragon memory, how that relates to your Draco memory. Again, beyond surviving, there's this energy of like thriving even in the conditions that would either set anyone else on a path of, you know, like destruction or of giving up or confusion. But for you, it was always meant to be a path of unfoldment and of extreme growth, because the world needs these frequencies and Earth needs to remember her dragon history. How else are people going to understand the energetics even within our solar system, like what each planet means to the other planet? Now, maybe some of you are sci-fi fans like me. I've been watching a lot of Star Trek lately. the newer Star Treks. But this is something that my dad and I had in common. We really had this love for frequencies and memory that could be transmitted through storytelling, right? And because a lot of people, including me, didn't have, you know, third eye fully open when we were younger, and when we were on this path of discovery and remembrance, to bring that in, there was an easier access point to watch sci-fi, to watch science fiction, to read about it, to immerse yourself in that. And then there could be greater access going forward, because that was like a marking moment in time. That was like a marking point where you were going to refer back to that and be like, don't forget about the, you know, galactics. Don't forget about these realms that felt familiar, that felt like home, that felt like there was more to the story that you needed to explore, that you needed to get into. And I'm about to pick a dragon card from the Star Dragons Oracle deck. This is one of my oldest decks since 2021 of dragons. So we have the card of inspiration, the Dragon of Inspiration, which is connected to the constellation Berenice's hair. What I find interesting about this message is a little bit of that like black and white energy. There's only 5 cards in this deck that are black and white. So they have like this special kind of almost like a collective energy. So collectively, I'll just give you an example. The other black and white images, there's like time, there's space. This one's inspiration. For our collective of Draco right now, we're being invited to inspire the rest with our memories, with our storytelling. We're gonna be invited to bring people to the fire, even to bring people to desert lands, or just in general into nature, but I mean like remote, and stargazing and holding sacred ceremony, holding sacred time with each other, where you could even invoke, you could even call upon your Draco commander, fleet perhaps, definitely family, definitely allies, and you can ask to be streamed, you know, like to stream, to open the stream, that's better, to open the stream of communication, like let the floods come, let the floods come to the desert, right? Let that desert storm arrive that's gonna make everything come alive once again in a land that's been very dry and very challenging and very, again, desolate and difficult. So the next dragon message for the Draco collective is enlightenment. You can tell, like when there's like the black and white and the color, you know, it's like your life was in black and white, and now it's time to inspire, not only to inspire others, but to live the inspired life that you came here to live. And when I was talking about stargazing and being under the stars and the moon, because there is a different form of enlightenment that is being asked of you right now. The enlightenment that is being asked of you is a little bit hermit feels, a little bit connected to fairy energy. She's got like these fairy ears, and she's definitely like, she's kind of like outside of time. Like she might even be like a time traveler. If you see her outfit, she's like one of the only people pictured in this deck that it looks like they're from another era. And that's what I'm getting about you, is you are from another era, not only on Earth, you are from another era of the cosmos, and you have the threads, you have the pieces, you have like the pieces to the puzzle, the threads to the tapestry that are still missing from Gaia's story, that are still missing in 2025, or whenever you are tuning into this. It's probably the 2020s, this decade, this marking decade. And you need to offer this to others. You need to step forward. You need to hold the lantern. That's what the hermit does. They hold the lantern. They have the wisdom. They've been in the cave. They've been on the mountain. They've been, you know, in the desert, wandering around. Think of Moses, you know, one of my favorite dudes. You know this. If you've been here, you know this. If you haven't been here, where have you been? Watch the Moses replay, way shower ceremony from last year, and you can tune all into that. And yeah, I'm going back to the Crystal Skulls deck because there are more messages. This is feeling really good. This is feeling really juicy and alive. I can feel you guys in the field, and I would just love for you to share in the comments, you know, what does this kind of ping in you right now as I'm saying this? What is this kind of stirring in you, right? Or inspiring in you? Is it inspiring memory? Is it inspiring maybe just like a little bit of that fire, right? The fire, the heat that the desert offers. And you want to know more. You want to know more, you want to know more, you want to know more. Dream big. The 0 card in this deck. So it's the only skull that is white around this beautiful, black, deep, intensely beautiful crystal skull. And it says dream big. And what I love about this energy, first of all, is that I know for a fact that this artist, this person that created this deck, he created it in the lockdown years, around 2020, I think. Maybe even released the deck in 2020. So it has this energy of like being kind of in that 0, right? 2020 doesn't only have 1 0, it has 2. 2020. And it was the 0 year for this decade. So I've talked about this before. The decade of the 2020s was a full reset. And so the year 2020 is kind of like the year 0 for awakenings, for star seeds, for those of us that were ready to shift into another gear of our awakening journey, of our purpose, of our passions. And with the dream big energy, imagine if 2020 was your year 0, then we're in year 5 right now. And we've been activated enough, we've been supported enough up until this point to no longer be on the sidelines, to no longer be the spectator, right? The one going to watch the show, but they're not in the show. The one, it's weird, I wanted to say watching the circus, but they don't want to perform themselves, right? They don't want to be the one that could possibly be criticized or, you know, singled out as strange, right? The circus kind of had this energy of like, oh, the circus and the fairs, like they used to have this energy of like gawking at something or someone that was different, that was talented. There were a lot of talented people, but they often kind of threw in a lot of people that they considered strange in there so that people could get their money's worth and gawk and judge and all of that. And so what I'm getting with this is like, for all the years, for all the decades that people that were connected to not only their sovereignty, but their love for humanity, their love for the earth, the love for the stars, the love for the cosmos. This is your time. This is our time. And we can no longer pretend that we are not stars of the show. And not in the way that it's a freak show, and not in the way that it's the circus that takes advantage of these beautiful beings, right? This is a completely different show. This is like the again, it's so strange. It's like this circus stuff coming in, and like, believe me, I know nothing about circus stuff. I don't know what's coming in here. The greatest show of all time, or the greatest something of all time, like Ringling Brothers or something. Like I will say there is there's a memory that's like kind of in the background right now about me going to the Ringling Brothers Museum in Florida when I was in my mid-20s, and it was part of a grid work kind of thing that I was doing with my partner at the time. But I didn't realize that every time I'd have these strong impulses to travel, it was usually because I was working the grids. But it took us to Sarasota, Florida. Sarasota. It's very dragon. Sarasota. And it's a very beautiful, it's a very pristine kind of location in Florida. And it just so happens that there's this museum there about these circus brothers or family. I think there's a whole family of brothers that started this, I guess, this business. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's more important about the grid. It's more important for me to highlight that Sarasota holds powerful grid energy for Florida, for the United States, for the East Coast. A lot of interesting synchronicities when I started learning about portals and grid PowerPoints and what people were saying about where certain chakras and gates were. And Sarasota is on that list of one of these prominent people that were talking about the Earth's portals, talking about like in the 90s or the 2000s, a while ago. So what I want to offer you is a little bit of the stream that I tuned into from a very beautiful grid point when I was tuning into the Draco stream in January this year. So I recorded all the other starseed videos and uploaded them for the public, but this one felt like a video that was just really hard to record. And I wanted to record it in Maui, in the grid of the Hawaiian Islands. But there was so much going on, there was so much beauty, there was so much coming in, there was so much moving around, and I needed to be very present and connecting and receiving, receptive. So I'm just going to read to you a little bit of the themes that were coming up for the Draco stream. And then we'll get into a little bit more messages through the cards. But just take some deep breaths. If you have some water, have a little sip. I've been doing the silver chalice lately. Charging up my water like that. Okay. First message that I wrote down was there is a huge difference between talking about the serpent and being the serpent. The reason this is really important for me to share is because we are in the year of the serpent. Most likely, many of you are watching this in the year of the serpent. And I want to continue to give you the support that you need, and it is going to be through Patreon and through other avenues, through an entire month that I'm going to be holding of the Way Shower. I'm not exactly sure which month yet. I have some ideas. It could be August, but let's see. There's a lot that's coming up, and I want to make sure that I'm fully available and anchored and rooted to hold that space, because last year's Way Shower was like life-changing. It was a month long, and every single week there were revelations, there were unfoldings, there were synchronicities, there was cohesion and energetics being exchanged with the other people that were in that, that were in the Patreon, that were joining for these live Way Showers or watching the replays. So there's a difference between talking about the serpent and being the serpent. And I want you to hone in on how are the serpent and the dragon related for you? How are the serpent... My dog is like throwing her toy around right now. As I started getting into this bit, she's just like, I'm gonna play. So if you hear anything weird, it's my dog. She's playing with her toy, her little lion. Don't mind her. Dog, I'm like a dog sister and a dog aunt or something to our other dog, our rescue. But what does the serpent and what does the dragon mean to you? Where are there themes that are overlapping? Where are the differences, right? Where do you feel the differences in your body, right? Is the serpent more like belly to the ground, right? Cobra kind of energy, maybe even a little bit more material, more in this physical realm. And then the dragon is more ethereal. It's more like you feel like you have wings and you could fly, and you do fly and you do travel with dragons in so many realms. And these are just examples. So maybe even later on you can tune in, you can make some cacao, make something nourishing, maybe some fruit, anything that's gonna really help you connect with your blood actually. And then I want you to maybe do some free writing or some journaling or put on some music and let the dragon and the serpent streams, like let them come in so that you can get to know a little bit more. It could be even that you're channeling your own information, channeling which lands, both on earth and off earth, that are connected to your bloodlines and your stellar family in serpent and dragon lineage. Okay? And then the other things I really want to hone in on are the fact that the Draco stream, the Draco constellation right now is activating in certain star seeds a passion, right? A fire, a burning. Again, we got all, this whole altar is like 90% desert themes. Maybe there's like also a good amount of cacao and crystal themes here that are not necessarily desert connections, but they've been with me on these grid work missions, and they've been a part of these weavings that I've been doing across California, across Guatemala, Mexico, and especially now in and around Los Angeles. So even this beautiful cactus that I showed you, it belongs to a bigger cactus, but it fell the other day near my altar outside. And they've just been breaking off, and they kind of want to be planted in other places, and they want to keep giving fruit. Actually, they want to keep growing and keep reminding me that this energy is very powerful for me, specifically because it reminds me of dragons and because it's connected to my Mexican heritage, my Mexican lineage. It's a food for us. It's nourishment. It grows fruit that we can eat and drink and all the things. So yes, you're going to be channeling. You're going to be writing, free writing. There might even be some movement in there, especially if you do have the cacao. There might be some movement that's going to bring, like, I feel like bring your blood to a boil, right? Like it's going to heat you up in a good way, so that you can connect to your passions. I wrote down, this is in January, what do you burn for? What do you yearn for? Intentions are blessed by serpents here in physical form, body and belly to the earth. They ignite the earth to respond to you here in the material. Interesting. Yeah. Intentions are blessed by the serpents here in physical form. So you might be meeting some physical serpents when you start reconnecting to the land. And what I love about that is that we need to recalibrate our relationship with the serpent. We're invited to recalibrate how we react to encountering certain animals in the wild, animal totems. And I am talking about in the wild. Some of you might have connections to serpents in captivity, but I want you to just kind of lean in a little bit. And this is for me too, because I want to lean into the possibility that I can meet these serpents in the land, in the year of the serpent and beyond. And, you know, summon, right? The courage, the strength, the heart power to connect with these beings and to communicate with them and to both give and receive. Give to them, receive from them. I wrote down next, are you in it for the right reasons? this year, integrity is going to be a determining factor, and it goes hand in hand with authenticity. So who are you really underneath those skins? It's getting deep. Who are you really underneath those skins, those masks, those layers of the old, of the stagnant? This is your year to be your own authority. And I wrote Lion King, Lion Queen, Emperor, Empress, energies. All right, that's all we have for the notes from basically, it was either end of the year last year, could have been December 2024, like in that weekend right before Gregorian New Year. And I was in a very beautiful island off of Long Beach. We have islands here. It's a dragon island called Catalina. And that's where I was tuning in. That's where I was honing in on what's happening with the Draco stream. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, Draco constellation aligns with like the Sagittarius, if I'm not mistaken, kind of season in True Sky. So it might have been that really was when I had that first surge of communication from Draco. And I was a little bit too afraid to press record, you know, like maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe I needed to grow a little bit more. Maybe I needed to continue my devotion with cacao, my devotion with many master plants, mushrooms. You know, it's been a powerful year. We're only, you know, in June, we're not even halfway through the year of, again, Gregorian. But we're not even halfway through the Serpent year either. And that's important because this is kind of we're getting to the halfway mark. Doesn't matter when you're watching this. Just forget about time for a minute and just tune into that kind of like, what does it mean when you're at the halfway mark? You know, if it was a game, if it was a race, if it was a hike, right? Like a really powerful hike and you're going to go up this incredible mountain. And if you found out you were at the halfway mark, what does that feel like? Do you feel that you have everything that you need to make it all the way there? Are you hydrated enough? You know, is your bag light enough that you're not going to feel weighted down, burdened? Some of you might need to let a few things go, quite literally, from your life. Some of you, it's more letting things from the mind clear. A good windstorm, the deserts have this incredible like windstorm that's called a haboob. This is real. I just found this out like last year, which I think is an Arab word. But because obviously there's lots of desert lands, you know, in the Middle East. But it could be that a good windstorm comes and like clears your mind. Clears this busy space for the best. Not even just for the better, but for the best, for the highest timeline. For you to make it to the finish line and beyond. Like I'm talking about, make it to the finish line and then you're also thinking about feeling into the next challenge, the next invitation, hike, mountain, race, game, whatever it is for you. All right, I'm really trying to pick an herbal astrology oracle card, but just take a few breaths here. Again, maybe drink a bit more high quality water, sip your cacao, because this card isn't coming out. Not coming out. Cacao for the win. All right, cacao is the card that came out. What I love about this is actually the frequency that I was feeling into, being the quetzal, and it's that green bird with the red chest and the resplendent long tail that reminds us of just beautiful flight, beautiful bird power and majesty. And I'm wearing my quetzal earrings from Guatemala, so there's definitely something here, right? It's no mistake that the dragons that are associated with both the Mexica and the Aztec, Mexica, Aztec, and the Mayan civilizations are connected to this bird. So we have Quetzalcoatl and we have Kukulkan, and they're both connected to this quite rare, resplendent, majestic bird that is not easily accessible. It's not easily even like found or photographed or stalked. It's almost like it's a privilege. It's a privilege. It's an honor to be able to be invited into the jungle, into the mountains, into the rainforest where this beautiful being lives. And what I'm receiving for you is an incredible heart activation from cacao and an initiation, because the card literally says cacao, initiation. An incredible initiation from this master plant for you. An incredible journey going forward where most likely, again, if you stay in these kind of realms with me, you're gonna feel the call to the lands, any lands, but specifically sacred, possibly Mayan lands where cacao grows, or where she's harvested and, created into incredible ceremonial bar status, and where she's venerated, where she's, she's kept on her throne. You see the crown on top of the heart. She's on her throne where she belongs. A lot of us have forgotten that these medicines have an intelligence. They have a pathway to earth, and they have pathways to all of the people that are meant to connect with them. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm one of the lucky ones that she found, that she tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, in 2020, in the lockdown year, like, buy me, right? This little bread shop that sells organic stuff from around the sacred valley of Peru. Buy me and start connecting. And it changed my life. Again, at the time, I couldn't really see, I couldn't really understand. It was the beginning. It was the beginning of a long and beautiful journey with her. I want to read a little bit of the card for you, maybe just like anything that stands out. Because I could just go on a whole tangent and tell you my whole cacao story again. But I'd rather you just come on my future retreats and meet me somewhere in the world and, dive into my containers, especially if you are Divine Feminine, Reina Hawar. Coming up June 22nd, we're having our first live gathering, and this is a 3-month cacao dragon portal. So it's just, my whole heart is going into this, and I would love if you were there. I would love, 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 love for you to be initiated by her in this year of the Serpent. Okay. Upright, it is a card of initiation, spiritual test, revelation, access to the cosmic heart, divine love, light beings, channeling languages of light. Astrological ruler, Uranus and Venus. That's all I'm going to say, because actually I'll read the Quetzal part, because I was talking about the Quetzal, the bird. The resplendent Quetzal. Okay, guidance. Quetzal has flown into your cards today, symbolizing initiation. The sky gods are speaking and bathing your soul in liquid light as you traverse a series of spiritual tests. The Quetzal is considered one of the highest divine apparitions, as it is associated to the snake god Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. Like cacao, both are considered precious heavenly gifts from the sky gods. These divine apparitions today are asking you to deeply tune into the cosmic heart. Let it move you. Open yourself to receive the holy gifts provided, and listen carefully to the light. Page 111, by the way. Listen to the light language pouring through them. Keep elevating your frequency, rooted in unconditional love, which I'm going to insert here. Remember what I said before, means that integrity and that authenticity that I mentioned already from the notes in December or January. Keep elevating your frequency, rooted in unconditional love. Step out of your own way and allow your heart to blossom. Know that through this divine love, we experience the cosmic heart, the gateway to spirit. I would say even beyond the gateway to spirit, it would be like what I'm feeling Cacao wants me to share is it's a homecoming. It's a homecoming for you to realize you are spirit in flesh. You are a part of that cosmic whole. You are a part of that cosmic heart. And you matter. There's no mistake that I was guided to record this in the Maya time cycle of 13 days, which we call it Trecena. This Mayan cycle is the cycle of the jaguar, and we are completing that cycle today as I'm recording. It's June 2nd, Gregorian, but it is 13 Kame in the cycle of Ish, Balam, the jaguar. So her culminating day, basically the day where we blast off, right? 13 is always like a blast off number. We actually get to reach the higher realms of dragons, of quetzales, of all the ancestors. Kame is associated with the ancestors, but the number 13 is associated with the higher realms, the other world, other worlds, right? Kame, the ancestors, Kame, death, Kame, transformation, transfiguration. What a beautiful message. What a beautiful way to close out this transmission. I could go on forever, and I feel like there will be more, but I want you. I'm going to put a playlist here. It's going to be a quetzal and a dragon playlist, so that these frequencies can start like working in the background, right? Take the mind out of it. Maybe you dance, maybe you move, maybe you journal, maybe you fall asleep to the playlist on low in the background, if that's something you like to do. And let the frequencies activate you, because I work a lot with sound and music. A lot of my wisdom is enhanced by frequencies that other like-minded beings or other creators and artists and musicians and light workers and grid workers and incredible beings, what they're doing right now, what they've been doing, what they are doing, what they will do in the future, like including the oracle, like the oracle decks, the tarot decks, like this is co-creation. This is soul family assisting and right? Assisting in the activations. And so I actually remember there's two more things I want to show you. The dragon card of Naga of the Golden Lotus that's been on the altar for a few days now, really hinting at you got to share my dragon frequencies. You have to talk about the dragons. And it's the Empress card in this incredible tarot deck. Incredible tarot deck. Lilies, this dragon, this naga is rainbow, and there's light language in all of these little spheres, these little bubbles that are surrounding the dragon. And you can see earth down here. So this dragon is really higher. She's coming out of earth, but she's higher than earth. And yet, we have access to her. We have access to this energy. Through your Draco stream, through your lineages of serpent, dragon, Kan could also be a key here. Kan. This is what we call serpent and dragon and life force energy in Maya time and Maya language. It's one of the archetypes. It could be an activation for you to just think about and say out loud and tone the word kan, kan, kan. Or maybe naga, naga, naga. They're both really beautiful sounds that could connect you to parts of your dragon family. One final card, one final message. We're going to another. And look at all these dragon frequencies supporting us. This is another dragon tarot. This is a Celtic deck that I received, I purchased in Avalon. And it's been working the last couple days. It's been coming in the field with the frequencies of, okay, what are the odds? 78 cards in this deck, and you got the Empress. Okay, so I didn't shuffle this one for us. I brought it in because I was like, boom, this is the frequency. But you got, essentially, this is the message. Royal dragon lineage. Royal dragon lineage. Empress energy. Empress, meaning the feminine. The feminine, the feminine, the feminine. Perhaps even Venus, specifically. Royal Venus connections. Streaming, right? From, coming down, 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 from through Venus to Earth. So that could be something that you play with. Roses, she's holding roses. This one, obviously, the golden lotus. So there's all these lotus flowers floating around on little pads. So there could be this beautiful trinity, cacao, lotus, and rose. This is actually something that I do quite often, where one of them hands me over to the other one, or I do alchemy with a few of these really, really high frequency plants. And often they work so incredibly beautifully with each other, rose and cacao especially. And also golden lotus. I've used an incredible golden lotus tea as the liquid for my cacao alchemy before as well. And what I'm seeing is just like, and then just sit back and receive. Let it all come in. We've got the number 3, right? Empress is always number 3 in tarot. So you have 3, 3. I hope you also realize that your spine is going to be very, very instrumental in this rise, in this memory recall. And closing here with a little bit of music in the background and this beautiful fossilized coral that joined the family. Join my family of crystal beings, sacred service and grid work, and specifically 20 million years old fossilized coral that is 20 million years old. I haven't been able to stop holding it, looking at it, and like wearing it on my heart when I'm laying in bed, and being on the grids in LA and taking it with me and just having it there as I'm journaling, having it there as I'm working with the water systems and the abundance and the receiving, and getting the rivers specifically to flow in a certain way within me, but also within the California, the Los Angeles, and the Orange County earth grids. So there might be a part 2 to this where I go into grid work specifically, because I really want to download you. I really want to inspire you to get deeper into grid work, because that is something that dragons came here for. It has everything to do with water, the sacred plants, the master teachers, the crystal realms, the chakras, the sacred sites have been mentioning. Mount Shasta's been coming up a lot. Like, we're gonna get into it, and I feel like California is really also nudging me and being like, come on, you're ready to start sharing these pieces. It all really kicked off in 2020. It all really kicked off in that 0 year. So bringing it back to the dragon, the crystal skull 0, dream big. Make sure that that's something that you're journaling about as well when you connect to Draco. What are the dreams and visions that you haven't fully believed you could materialize? The last day of each, this day, in the energy of the Ma, the Jaguar Ma. In Maya time, whenever you are watching this, just know she is backing up in a material way your dreams, your big visions, your big dreams. So be brave enough to dream them up and write them down and speak them to the sacred spaces, to your sacred altars, to your cacao. Before you go to bed, you know, speak them while you have crystals on your heart like me. And if you choose to speak them to other people, just make sure you discern, is this someone I need to or want to share this with right now, or do I want to keep it in my little hermit cave with me for just a little bit longer until I'm ready to hold that frequency, to then declare. I'm talking about declare, like a declaration when you're royal and you know you have the little guy and he's like gonna read the royal decree, you know, on behalf of the empress and the emperor or the king or the queen. So you might even have somebody doing that for you at some point. For now, just focus on the dream, vision, stargazing, being somewhere alone or in like a tight group, little community. Call on Draco, call on the dragons, remember you're royal, and see you in a few. Reina Hawar is open. I'll leave the link in the description for that, but if I don't see you there, perhaps Way Shower, maybe in August or in the months to follow that. Definitely in the year of the serpent. All my love.